Yeah, LA has a very special portal feeling. That's how I would call it. It's like a portal, and it's angelic, with the mountains. Those mountains are the key, I think.
Yeah.
You feel it, don't you?
Yeah, that's what makes LA kind of different and what it is, you know, like the hills, the Burbank Hills, this is actually the only major metropolitan area that is bisected by a mountain range in the United States.
There you go.
Like a major metropolitan area with millions of people that has a mountain range that goes right through it. And I think that's what makes LA so unique. There's all those thousands of homes that are in those hills area, and where we just picked you up from.
Burbank, in the hills.
Yeah, the Burbank Hills. You know, it attracted a lot of people here.
Mm-hmm.
The climate, the history of LA is very interesting.
Well, there's another point, because now that what we know about Tartaria and the corporate takeover that occurred through like the 1700s and 1800s, and I've seen all the Tartarian buildings with Ember driving around.
Oh yeah, in downtown.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I saw definitely the Tartarian heritage there, and so it must have been. My theory is that all of these cities have always had the same names. Los Angeles has always been the city of angels.
Yeah.
Since it began, because it's its placement under the heavens.
Yeah.
All the lands are all holy. You know, look at the word Holland, holy land.
Yeah.
You know, look at the word Sweden, the land of Eden. Venezuela, the land of Venus. England, the land of angels. Italy, the land of well, some suggest it's the calf, the bull, the image of the bull, and Vitalia, which means the calf, is the root of Italia. But there's other roots as well, but you know, it's the constellations: Taurus, Leo, London, the city of Don, the lion, Elon Don. That's the lion of the tribe of Judah. So they're all holy, and they were always connected to the stars. You know, laid out in the same shape of the constellations. This is known. That's the way the ancients used to do these things. And there was a reason for it. There was a real reason for it. And Los Angeles would have had the most beautiful energy. You know? And when the corporate takeover took place, they had to invert it. So they would have changed the energy of buildings by removing certain key cornerstones to change the frequency of the buildings, all the sacred buildings, all the churches that the Tartarians left. And then once that happens, then the portal is closed, and then they set up their, Freemasonic, Jesuit institutions, and away they go. Control by inferior transdimensional entities called demons, if you like. Egregores, archons, cosmocrators. But demons is generally the key word, the go-to word. Look at all these towers, man. Look at those, man.
Yeah. You know what? If you know it, once you know what that is,
Can I have a drink?
It's water. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Got a dry mouth.
Yeah. Once you know what those are, you see them everywhere, and like I swear, they're everywhere now. They've been working on updating those because I think it's 5G. Like 5G's coming. I think that's what those are. I mean, I don't know for sure, but
Oh yeah, they are for sure, bro. Yeah.
But they're everywhere now. They even camouflage them.
Well, they've had 5G for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee did a recent video about laser technology, and they were selling laser technology in 1820s. They had the patent, and they were doing all these whiz-bang little gizmos, impressing, modern day society back then with this laser technology. So what they've done is they've introduced it to us now. The military have always been using it, but what they've done now is they've taken out of that behind the curtains and bring it works for them, because then they can control the narrative, and then they can make like they're addressing that issue now, because it's out there and they control how they address it, you see.
Yeah.
So they get it in the back door anyway. So the idea, I would say, is to protect yourself and fortify your Taurus field. You have a force field around you. It's called your aura, Taurus field. Torso is another way of saying Taurus. Taurus. And of course, every Taurus field is red shift, blue shift, just as your torso is. Top is blue, bottom is red. So your torso knows about red shift, blue shift, electricity, and that's how body is made. It's made like that because electricity is polarized, transverse energy. So it has to have phase disparity. It has to have shift, because it has to create space. That polarity is where the space happens. Whereas radiation or magnetism is longitudinal, and it's not red shifted or blue shifted, it's white and black. Black light is dielectricity, white light is magnetism. And so the Taurus is the model and the form of the atom and all things. And it's red shift, blue shift. So I forgot where we were going with that, but
we just the towers, the communication towers that are everywhere now.
Yeah,
the last 3 or 4 years, they've really, especially in big places like this where you need more towers to send signals, you see them everywhere now.
Yeah, and
they look the same. They have they're on a pole, and the panels are in a circle around the pole.
Yeah. So the point I was getting at was that the frequencies, they've always been out there, and they've always been harmful. But the more magnetism you generate in your body by doing solar work, connecting with the sun with your palms, because that makes a loop with the sun and channels magnetism through your Taurus field and gets it spinning. So solar work, grounding, lots of raw food. Cooked food's great too, but you've got to have raw food. You need the enzymes.
Yeah.
Organic. The vegan diet is the superior diet for ascension. Flesh eating disables the ascension process, because when you go back to red shift, blue shift, and you look at the pH scale, you'll see that at 0 there's red shift, acidity, and then blue shift at 14 is alkalinity. And so we have a chemical laboratory we are working with, our bodies. It's the Holy Land. And when you learn to read the Bible and the scriptures, all of them, you'll realize that the Holy Land is in your body. And it's telling you the story of how you can ascend, how you can become a Christian, christened, enlightened, with glorious light, and you can escape the bounds of the carnal mind, and you can receive the Christ, the higher mind, which we all have, but most people deny, because that's talking with the fairies, and that's being airy fairy or whatever. There's always a way to diminish everyone's capacity to be of the divine mind. You know, little children tell their parents that they saw an angel or they saw something, a fairy, and the parents were like, yes, okay, maybe you watched it on the cartoons yesterday, dear. And they don't engage with their children to discover what is it that's going on with their children. You know, we must be like children to enter the kingdom. Childlike. So we do it to ourselves as well. We harm our own expansion into the divine mind, and so people settle for the carnal mind. It's easier, you know. And
yeah, you know, we had the meal at Flore Cafe yesterday, and you had mentioned that oh, by the way, that water is 9.5 pH, so it's like,
yeah,
it's like I only drink alkalized water now, so
it's beautiful.
But yeah, you said you had a big meal yesterday during the day, and I myself had a big meal last night, and today I don't feel the food that I ate. Yeah, it was a lot, but I don't feel like sluggish or anything. You know?
Yeah, no.
It was a burrito bowl I had at that vegan restaurant, and I feel great today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I do. You know, I feel the best I've ever felt, health-wise. I feel like I remember being when I was young, when I was say before a teenager. Very healthy. Before dental work, before, you know, I did have a few vaccinations, but my mother did not do all the vaccination programs. She avoided it. And so we were protected there. But at 56 years of age, I can't complain. Only my teeth that the dentist destroyed with root canals, which I have had removed, and a lot of other destruction that they did to my beautiful, beautiful, glorious teeth that I used to have.
Yeah.
That's the only complaint I have. I can do all kinds of yoga. I have so much energy. It's very childlike energy. It's clean, it's crisp. I can call on it at any time of the day, from morning till I lay my head. I have much more peace in my mind. My mind is far more peaceful. It doesn't vibrate as much. Vibration, the transverse wave, is the one that tires you the most. The radiation wave from the heart is always expanding wave, radially always expanding. So when you tune into that in your heart, you have much more strength. You have much more integrity. You don't tire as much. Your concentration is premium. Your emotions are stable. The Hermetic principle of rhythm is to master how to keep extremes, bipolarism, to its minimal, you know?
Yeah.
Where the pendulum is almost still. That's what meditation's all about. Meditation's not about, you know, emptying the mind. And you don't empty the mind, you fill it.
Yeah.
You know, you focus on one thing and the fullness of that one thing. And because of that, you still the vibration. You know, you silence the vibration. And then you go to a place where there is a lot of strength, where there is a lot of depth, and where you get to know God yourself. And so then you behave and act according to who you really are, and not the vibration. You see, when we meet new people and that we like, we mingle in each other's torus field.
Yeah.
And all of their vibrations and frequencies and knowledge and goodness and badness, vices and virtues, and all of that mingles with our field and stimulates our field.
Yes.
And some people inspire us and So we go back to them because they energize our torus field.
Yeah.
And then some people, they flatten you.
Yeah.
They deflate you, deplete you, because they're sort of like a black hole, and their frequencies are harmful to yours, or not necessarily harmful, but they just have that effect. And you don't like that, so you avoid them, right? Or you try to frequent them less. So, and this is what's called paradosis in the Greek system. Paradosis, related to henosis, which is a merging with God. Paradosis means to mingle in the aura of a holy one and receive their consciousness. So right now you're getting my philosophical syncretism energy and field. So you're in that field. I'm talking to you, making a vibration.
Yes.
With my voice, but it's coming from my knowing, which now you are, receiving, and likewise. So I'm getting your. So you're an actor, right?
Yeah.
So your field is acting. You've learned the science of it. Acting is one of the divine talents and skills that you need to ascend. It's one of them. I think you need 64 in the Hindu system. You need 64 developed skills and talents. Music, dancing, singing. All of these are what divinize the human being. And you also do syncretism again as well. And what else do you do that's in your field?
I'm a writer.
Yeah.
So and now I'm getting more into, filmmaking and producing,
directing.
I think that's in my future for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so where I stayed with David Leedy as well, in Burbank, he's doing the same thing. And you two actually knew each other before you came to the San Francisco presentation.
Yeah.
And you also came to the Sacramento presentation. So we just came from his house. We're off to the airport now. I fly to Costa Rica at midday, and we are energizing each other, inspiring each other. If we weren't inspired by each other, you wouldn't have come to the presentations. You wouldn't have offered to take me to the airport. So, but I'm getting that energy. You're a young man. What are you,
34.
34.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the energy of that youth, and I remember it because when I was young, I had more, strength and all of that masculine, more virility, I guess, more hormones, testosterone, whatever you can name that belong to the masculine polarity. The list goes on. And so as you get older, then it matures, but it's a different frequency, right? So I'm getting all that from your field. The point is, paradosis is always happening.
Yes.
You can get it artificially. You go and watch a movie.
Yeah.
You watch a video, a YouTube vid. But one-to-one in the flesh, it's the best. And that's why we always seek good companionship and people who are going to elevate our energy and transcend it into a better state. So that's why they go to gurus. Why do gurus have flocks of people around them? Because of paradosis.
Right.
They're not going there, with notebooks and writing down all the gurus' words and recorders necessarily. They're going for the experience.
Yeah.
And whatever they remember, is less a priority as going there to see the guru. Because paradosis will happen, and you'll be blessed.
Yeah.
And they don't need to touch you. You don't need to touch the foot.
Right.
Yeah. But you can, because that's where all the meridians are ending, and you touch the foot, you kiss the foot. This is not this is not evil, it's not wrong. You know, it's how you get, and you bless someone by kissing their foot and touching their foot. Because you show that you love them and that you want their gifts to share. Why are we gregarious animals? Why are we amiable with our friends and likable? Because we need that energy exchange. We do. Isolation is also another modality as well, to be a hermit and away from these people.
Yeah.
So ideally to have a place, you know, in the woods, but you've got your network of friends where you can go and see them and get their good energy.
Yeah.
And exchange. You need your community as well, but you do need the solitude.
Yeah.
You must have the solitude, because then you have to tap into your own strength.
Yes.
Because why? Because some of those people will fail you, and on certain days you will get bad energy from them. And you will or you will mix with the wrong people. You know, someone who has very disturbed energy field will probably meet you on the street, shake your hand, and then things change from that moment on. You know, you could have a bad day just because they affected. They came into your Taurus field with their hand outward to receive you. They shake your hand, they get a benefit, but they transfer perhaps a detriment to you.
That happens in this car a lot, because I do Uber, you know, and so I'm very aware of this now. But it depends on me and how I handle it. Because in the end of the day, yes, the energy comes in and the energy comes out, but
I know.
I credit my diet. That the diet is keeping me. I'm more alkalized now, and I'm living more in that hermetic middle, where I'm not letting. I'm catching myself and not letting myself go to the extreme high or the extreme low when energy comes in and it affects me, and I know that it's not right. I know there's an imbalance, but it's all about just keeping it an even keel.
Yes.
But if your alchemy and your body's not right, and then you get that one person, especially in a job where you're around a lot of strangers, it can affect my Taurus field, their Taurus field. But I think I've sort of mastered it, because I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now, and you just learn that you can't have the highs and the lows, and that can go for anything you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. Well, if you're strong, morally, ethically, and your principles you have integrity, you will always be protected. That's your force field. That's your gift. That's who you are. You are godlike, and your goodness will protect you, but you can be hurt as well, you know, by your own habits.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to deplete your magnetism. You need charisma, and you need your Chrism, so you have to work with your Chrism. You have to respect it, honor it. So that would be the cerebrospinal fluids, the sexual fluids. Those need to be understood. What role do they play in our life? Why are they there? Well, they're there to be used as materials, and to be recycled, and to be used as materials to develop your light body, which is your nervous system. Our nervous systems have been attacked deliberately with vaccines, chemtrails, dental work, and people. It's like your antenna to the transdimensional world, And the chrism is the fluid, the gas, the oil, the lard, the Lord, the Christ that runs through this beautiful, like a Christmas tree with your subtle body and the chakras. It's a Christmas tree. And your purpose in life is to light it up and create a light body and to have a radiance and to have an aura, a halo. And holy, to be holy. Holy comes from to be whole, and to not have holes in your holy aura, Torah field. Right? And how you get holes is by misusing those very fluids. You know, in tantric sex, it's taught to never secrete those. You know, this is like incontinence and incompetence. So to master that and to channel the orgasm up the spine and to keep your fluids, because the more fluids you keep in your body, the longer you live. There's only a certain amount of chrism given to you, and it's equal to the force of your soul atoms. When you incarnate, you have a certain force. You know, some babies have a lot of force for goodness, they have goodness, and some are not. You know, they grow up to be what you would call, you know, a bad person. And because they don't have that force, and that force is equal to how much cerebrospinal fluids they will have. Some people have weak nervous systems because that's astrologically how much they were granted through their chart. And so some of those people are born with very little to begin with, and they deplete it all by the time they're 20, 30 and 40. You can see they're wrinkly, they're
yeah.
George Carey said that when the chrism runs out, that's how you die. That's why you die. This is why people are dying. They're ejaculating. They're depleting themselves of the minerals and the nutrients and the materials that are needed to develop the nervous system. And the 13th cranial nerve, which is called the Christ nerve, and it's in the back here of the head, and it's the master nerve, and it connects you to the Akashic records and to the field of all knowing and to the field of bliss and to be ascended. And so this is why young men were sent to seminaries to learn what to do with their semen. It was a whole mystical teaching. It was a whole field of knowing. It was the way to ascend. And so in the seminary they were taught this, how to
but they still have that, right?
Yeah.
Like priests still go to seminaries.
Yeah. But
now what's your take on that? Like the modern priests going to a seminary today, maybe that priest knowing, the history of, let's say pedophilia in the Catholic Church, which is the awareness of that is probably pretty high right now.
Yes.
But what do you reckon with that? Like with priests, especially if syncretism starts really breaking open and people and a priest wanting to go to a seminary to become a priest, to be part of the Catholic Church. But it's like, to me, if I was that priest and I heard and I say I got onto your videos, there's a conflict.
Yeah.
There's a massive conflict because you're gonna go against you're gonna run up against a wall.
Yeah, you are.
And it's gonna make you ask a lot of questions. Well, why would I want to be a priest and do that?
Promiscuity is what they're teaching, not purity.
Yeah.
The left-hand path.
Even in seminaries.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Of course, they teach simply to ejaculate. That's the left-hand path. Samuel Onweor, in his book The Perfect Matrimony, taught that the Jesuits did this. They inverted the teaching in the seminaries and started this death cult of virtually murdering people by teaching them that to excrete or discharge your magnetic fluids from your body is a normal way of having sex. And it never was. You see all those tantric temples in India with all those sexual positions showing all kinds of, I think there's up to 100 different sacred positions in sex. But this was not ejaculatory sex. The temple prostitute was not an ejaculator originally. And they were male or female. And they were there to train the people in the temples, to train them how to do sex properly. Not engaging with them, but coaching them with their partners. See, whereas the inverted version of this is where the temple prostitute would actually physically just have sex for wanton pleasure. Yes, pleasure is connected with sexuality, but you don't have sex for pleasure or recreation. It's like alcohol, it's a medicine, it's not for recreation. Cannabis, it's a medicine, it's not for recreation. Tobacco, these are all medicines, ancient medicines. And sex is our healing. It's a gift, it's the sexual energy of healing, but it can not heal you, it can make you very, very sick.
It can deplete you.
Destroy you. Sexuality, lustful, ejaculatory, it's totally destructive. There's no redeeming factor in it at all. The only redemption is it that you experience your God-like nature for that split second of the ejaculation. Whereas when you learn to hold the spiral energy coiled at the sacral, when you learn to hold that coil like a spring, and when the orgasm is coming, you actually now control it like Saint Michael slaying the dragon, and then you control the duration of the orgasm, and you control where you want to experience it. If you want to go through the solar plexus, up through the heart chakra, through the throat chakra, up to the pineal gland, to the crown chakra, and now you and your partner are both in the same consciousness field, and now you are slowing the orgasm together, and you go to Jerusalem, to heaven, the holy mountain of God together, and you can actually hold that orgasm for as long as you want in your temple. And so that's the difference. The duration of the orgasm, the duration of your life, the duration of your bliss. Why are these young men going around willy-nilly having quickies where within 5 minutes they will ejaculate, and then all the trouble begins? Arguing, neurosis, psychosis also, nervousness, all kinds of psychosomatic disorders, arguing. Samuel Onweor says the moment you have the orgasm, all kinds of nasty energies come through the portals of your Torah field and embed themselves in your field. And these are the demons, as Jesus said, when a demonized man cleans his house of his demons but doesn't protect his house, then those demons go away and collect 7 more demons.
Wow.
Yeah, and more nasty. And they come back and make a home in your home once again. It's all in scripture, this, how to protect your energy field. That's all it's doing. It's teaching you how to be an alchemist in your body. And to do this process of ascension. A lot of people don't care about ascension. You know, that's fine. They are deferring it.
Yeah.
So, you know, they even learn how to do it. You know, they learn how to do tantric sex and they go back because they are afraid, I guess, of ascending. You know, they're afraid of the power of sex, the true power of sex, because there's more power in controlling sex than being abandoned. You know, abandoning yourself to its lusts and its machinations, where demons come in. This is why when people experience this kind of sex that the world is promoting, you know, polyamory, promiscuity, you know, all kinds of debauchery, they seem to not be able to escape it, and they seem to want more and more experiences and more intense sensations. So they take more drugs, they seek out more experiences and partners, and then because of the mixing of DNA and hormones and through saliva and seminal fluids, their integrity, their soul field is being depleted, and they forget who they are. They lose their integrity, and all of a sudden they're running all their ex-partners' programs, promiscuity, addictions. They need more tobacco. They need more cannabis. You know, I've been through it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience, but not only, but from how it is.
What would you say about, say, for instance, you know, the other side? So, you know, the typical, let's just say, American family. You know, you get married, you fall in love with someone, and you have kids, and then the kids get a little bit older and they get into school, and then it just kind of, and it's almost like you get there's a consummation in that life as well, where it gets so busy with the systems that the kids have in their you know, sports, school, that it's just, you don't, the systems are running the show in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like the especially in America, it's like they really run the show.
Yeah.
The family life kind of hurts in a way.
I know.
Because of all of these programs that are running
Yep.
in the background.
Yep.
And there's almost no teaching. I know I'm kind of speaking on a broad brush here, but
It's true.
there's a lot of families out there that struggle with having the decision to have a family and making ends meet in the system. And half the time their kids aren't even at home.
Yeah.
They're off.
So what's going on is this: there's all these Christian churches, denominations, and their pastors who came out of seminaries are not teaching them how to be Christian,
Right.
which is to abstain from ejaculating. You see, the Bible gives you an example of an ejaculator called Onan. He was the son of Judah, and God killed him. This is not literal, of course, you know, but
Yeah.
but because he wasted his seed on the ground rather than impregnating his brother's wife, which was the Jewish law, to look after the widows, and especially if your brother dies, you've got to now look after his wife. Okay, that's the law. And so Onan was killed. Why? Because you cannot disrespect the Chrism and not have any consequences, detrimental consequences. You cannot do this. In fact, the Zoroastrian religion taught that anyone who willfully goes out to have an ejaculation can never be forgiven once they know this.
Right.
So the pastors, they're not teaching their people about this, and so good old Christian John takes his beautiful Christian wife Jan, and they marry, and they're ejaculating every time they have sex, getting older and sicker, and destroying their own marriage by depleting it. and bedarkening their own luminous bodies. This is what Samael says in the book The Perfect Matrimony. Samael Aun Weor. He says, "It is not necessary to spill the semen to engender a child. Imbeciles like to spill the semen. The Gnostic is not an imbecile. When the couples are sexually united, clairvoyants usually see a very brilliant light which envelops the pair. In this instant, precisely, the creative forces of nature come to serve as a means for the creation of a new being. When the couple allows themselves to be carried away by carnal passions and then commit the crime of spilling the semen, those luminous forces withdraw. Their place is taken by luciferic forces of a blood-red colour, bringing quarrels, jealousy, adultery, tears, and desperation to the home. Christian homes. I've seen it. I've lived in one. My first marriage, I was a Jehovah's Witness, 10 years, and it was miserable. And every time I ejaculated, it was always horrible, awful, disgusting feeling. Not only in me, but between my partner. It wasn't right.
Yeah.
Because my higher consciousness was leading me. It took years, and then in 2012, I made the decision after enough torture and suffering, and I said no more. And now all my sex is white. I don't ejaculate, so it's beautiful. I'm restoring my luminous body, my Christmas tree, my nervous system. I'm ascending through sex. So this is how homes which could have been a heaven on earth become true infernos. Whoever does not spill the semen retains, accumulates for himself peace, abundance, wisdom, happiness, and love. With the key of sexual magic, one can put an end to disputes in the home. This is the key to true happiness. During the act of sexual magic, couples are charged with magnetism. They magnetize each other. The pelvis of the woman pours out feminine currents, whilst the breasts give off masculine ones. In the men, the feminine current is rooted in the mouth, and the masculine in his virile member. All these organs should be well excited by means of sexual magic in order to give and receive, transmit and collect vital magnetic forces, which continue increasing extraordinarily in quantity and quality. Oh yeah. Even the 5 years prior to 2012, when I was practicing grey Tantra with my then second wife Hiromi, it was awful. And the quality now of my life, my peace, is exponentially superior than even last year.
Wow.
In the homes of Gnostic initiates, where between the couple there is such intimate sexual contact, delightful dance, joyful music, the ardent kiss have the object of achieving of the mutual magnetization of men and women. The magnetic power is masculine and feminine at the same time. It's yin and yang. It's dielectricity and magnetism, white light and black light. The man needs the currents of his wife if he wants to progress, and inevitably she needs those of her husband to achieve the development of her powers. When the couples magnetize each other, things progress and happiness makes its nest in the home. When the man and the woman unite, something is created. Scientific chastity permits the transmutation of the sexual secretions into light and fire. Every religion which degenerates preaches celibacy. Because why? Because celibacy is in the middle. It's what I would call stagnancy. You're not doing anything with the sexual fluids. You're just sitting there meditating and celibate, and not ascending nor descending. It's a peaceful life. But the left-hand path is promiscuity, celibacy is stagnancy, and the right-hand path is purity and ascension. Every religion at its birth, remember what I said before, the seminaries originally were pure. At its birth, every religion at its birth and in its glorious splendor preaches the path of the perfect matrimony. So clearly you can see there that the original intention of all the religions was to ascend their people. So now you see imbeciles going to church. Oh, but they love Jesus. But they don't realise that they are crucifying Jesus every day, and there's no forgiveness if you do it willfully and deliberately, knowingly. There is no forgiveness. This is how serious it is. It's absolutely serious. You cannot desecrate the temple by sacrilegiously disrespecting the Chrism, not even once. You don't get away with it. And it's beautiful when you do. It's a beautiful life.
How would you say that you teach your kids that, though?
Well,
you know, like it just seems it seems like the parents aren't really, they're not teaching their kids anything. They're letting the systems teach the kids. The school, if they go to a church, they belong to a church. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. I just got this feeling that not.
LAX.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we made that in good time, man.
It's all right. Yeah.
That's 9:30. So that's like a half an hour from Burbank. That's beautiful.
Well, we're still about
oh, yeah, look,
20 minutes away.
I know, yes. Look at this beautiful freeway junction. It's just amazing what technology can do. Technology generally is inferior to science. The science, technology. So, but of course, it can be used to in a beautiful way. So, yeah, parents can teach their children how to enjoy the sexual energy, and they can even, show them how to stimulate themselves, not to run away from it, and not to masturbate or self-abuse, which is creepy kind of words, I think. They should be taught that they can enjoy this pleasure, but never to secrete anything. And then they will teach them how to breathe, how to squeeze the perineum, so that nothing is secreted, and so that the fluids can be channeled up the spine, where they are to be in a distilled process, where they are to be rarefied as they go up to back to the cerebrum.
How would you say that relates to eating meat and the diet? So obviously a family that's consuming meat, that are not on a raw food diet, these thoughts and these practices won't ever make it into the household if you're consuming.
No.
Right? It's
yes.
not. It won't ever get there.
Yes.
The conversation, the practice, the thoughts, the aura of the home won't ever It won't ever exist
No.
because of what happens to you when you are consuming animal products. And it's funny because it's normalized.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's so normalized that that it's thought of as like, no, well, everyone eats meat and everyone eats eggs, and so we're a normal family.
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually an inversion of what should be happening.
Yes.
And then you'll be looked at as crazy
Mm-hmm.
for trying to say the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure. So, the introduction of flesh eating and ejaculating, those are the two most harmful of all practices where humans are destroying their temples. Here I'm eating raw food.
Yeah.
That's beetroot.
Yeah.
I got this from live living foods, wild living foods. Okay, wild living foods in LA yesterday. Here is a sushi, raw. I used to make raw sushis as well. Raw vegan sushis. Raw soy sauce. This is the sort of food that we need to introduce into our lives besides cooked food. It's organic. It's an organic raw food restaurant. And yesterday I had the Flat Earth pizza. It was the best pizza I've ever had. So if you're ever in LA, wild living foods, downtown LA, and I would say try and eat fresh, good food like this, raw, at least one meal a day. If not, go raw, 90%. Cooked food is good, it has its virtues, it's alchemical, it's also necessary, I believe, especially for where we are as humans. We're not so advanced that we can really just make these big leaps.
Yeah. And I'd say that's the thing where when transitioning to a raw vegan diet, you have to take it in steps. I first tried not eating meat 2 years ago, and I did it, and I was still eating eggs though.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had a problem with the cravings every night because of other things I was consuming. And 2 years later, now my body I've introduced the cell salts, and I actually think the cell salts are helping me immensely.
Sure.
It has to be it, because it's been 2 months now, and I just feel there's a more of a balance happening inside of me.
Do you have tissues?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Jeez, man, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
So, this for me has been the secret to my health. Not that I've been, greatly healthy, especially in the last 10 years with my itching problem. But I always had a salad every day. It's my favourite food. So with every meal, even when I was a meat eater, I always would like to have a raw salad. And I used to make, and still do, make really, really delicious salads. But that's the key, I think. For me, that has been key and crucial. The raw food. Fruits and vegetables. is a subject that's dear to me because ascension is dear to me. I am a sexual being, as we all are. As we were saying, that cafe interview that we had the other day, that astrologically we are all granted certain forces and strengths and weaknesses, and we have so much Chrism that we've been allotted. They teach also in the ancient philosophies that we've been granted a certain amount of breaths as well. So if you slow your breath down, it's beautiful. You increase your longevity. So the same goes with everything in your body, whatever comes from your body. And the Chrism is so special and important. And it's not infinite. It's infinite if you preserve it. So the subject embraces many of the things that are important to me and that I love. Truth, scripture, because now I understand the scriptures directly. I have direct knowledge of what they're saying. I have the key. And so I've always loved scripture. And so ascension, sexuality, purity, scripture, they all combine and come together. There's nothing missing. Everything is delightful, everything is beautiful when you're on the path. People of the world on the broad and spacious road that is leading to destruction, they don't care for it because it's boring for them, you know. They want more sensation, the most sensation. They're not gonna, try to, calm their breath down and meditate and be in the stillness and grow those forces that were given them, Some people come into the world with very, very small, their sexual body. We do have a sexual body, by the way. We have a mental body, an emotional body, and a sexual body. But their sexual body hasn't got much force. So they're not as distracted by the pleasures of sex. So they become a nun, or they just become celibate or whatever. And because they haven't got force. Other people are like almost driven insanely, like have a nymphomaniac kind of energy. And there would be nothing wrong with that either. Right. To have such a strong energy, it's beautiful, but it's what you do with it. It's what you do with a knife. You can kill someone with a knife. Yeah. Or you can make sandwiches and feed the poor. Yeah. So channeling that energy, harvesting it, growing it, and channeling it, and then you get to keep it. You stay beautiful. You stay happy and healthy. I was protected. You know what happened to me 3 weeks ago. I survived a murder attempt. A guy who was obsessed with the woman I was staying with, and he was texting her for weeks, threatening her to murder her, bash her over the head with a baseball bat, cut her up in tiny pieces, murder her dog, and murder me. And the police, of course, have these texts, so they know that it was intended and premeditated. And this guy actually turned up at 8:30 on the 13th of October at this woman's place. Unfortunately, she opened the door. He started swinging with the bat, and I heard her screaming, ran in, got entangled in a fight, you could say, a struggle with this man. He pulled out a knife, cut my hands up a little bit. There's still some of the wounds there. Here, on the top of my finger, and here. There you go. That's the cuts I got. It was 10 minutes of sheer hell fighting for my life. Both of us. We survived, and he didn't. He died. He bled to death within minutes. The police were there, and I saw angelic protection, trans-dimensional angelic protection. Because I'm 5'7", the other woman was 5'4", and this guy's 6'2". Club in hand, very, very, very sharp knife in hand, premeditated, planned to murder us. I survived it with these scratches, you could say. My back's still a little bit sore, my neck's still a little bit sore. But although I know I had angelic protection, I've seen angelic protection in my life before, so I'm not deluded about what happened. I can also, though, say that I brought something to the table that enabled the angels to be able to use me and work with me, and that is that my Taurus field is pure. It doesn't have any partner's DNA in it, any polyamorous DNA, and I'm not an ejaculator. And ejaculators always lose, non-ejaculators always win. That's why a good coach will always tell his man, don't have sex for a week if you want to win the fight. He will tell his team, abstain from sex and we will win the premiership. We will win. Why? I think it was Muhammad Ali who shared that his coach taught him that, because he said, if you have sex for a week before the fight, your knees will be weak. Yeah. You'll fall over.
Force, your body force, right?
Yeah. So,
that's a real thing.
So, I brought that to the table. I brought my integrity. I know who I am. I know how strong I am. I'm a small man, but I have a lot of strength, and I'm very fast. So I brought two things. And integrity through non-ejaculation, which gives me pure kinetic energy whenever I need it, and speed. So I guess, I'm very quick with my movements, and I brought those things, but without angelic protection, I wouldn't have survived it. But it's good preparation and good insurance and good investment to practice all of these good things and good healthy living. And here is a chia seed pudding that Ember bought me as well, which I'm going to try and eat like this without a spoon. I think,
I don't have a spoon.
Huh?
I don't have a spoon, sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool, bro. But I want to have a munch.
I have chia seeds almost every day.
Yeah, they're great.
They're great. Sprinkle it on your
Yep.
On anything.
For sure. So this is really important, I wish I knew this when I was in my 20s,
Yeah.
Wow. Things would be so different. Here's a bit of road rage.
Yeah. A lot of road rage, and everyone's you're susceptible to the elements. I've been guilty of
oh yeah, I've been really bad with road rage, man. I'm disgusted in myself when I think of some of the things I did.
Same with me. But you learn from that, and you learn that, and then you watch people that really get mad or who tail you and speed around you, and you don't get mad. You just say, okay, hey, that's that guy's deal. He hasn't figured it out yet. He hasn't figured it out by doing that, by going to the extreme, you're throwing your whole your whole aura out of whack, and it might affect you for a few days without you even knowing it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, this is delicious.
Yeah, it smells good, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking I better eat this now before I...
Yeah, they won't let you bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring any food in.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, though, you're eating that now, because you're probably not going to want to eat anything in there. They have salads and stuff at the at that terminal.
Mm-hmm. You're just going to drop me off, right?
Yep. Yeah, we'll drop you off at departures.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here thousands of times, man, over the last like 4 or 5 years.
Keep speaking, man.
Yeah.
You've got some good points. Go.
For sure. Yeah.
What else?
What do you think that the future of the next couple years of syncretism is? Like, what would you like to see happen? You know, of making it more, bringing more awareness to what it to what it is, and
Well, I'd like to see academies, syncretism academies, come to the world, you know, just like the Neo-Platonic academies, which were closed down by Justinian in the 6th century. I want to do that, teaching the true philosophy, the perennial philosophy, the promiscuity in academies. So I'd like to see that happening. I'd like to also make good documentaries on syncretism, and at the best astrology website, most comprehensive and exhaustive and functional astrological website where you can do your chart and transits and all of that. You know, those are 3 things I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Like Manly P. Hall has his Philosophical Society.
Yeah.
Just over here, somewhere near.
It's where we were yesterday. It was close to where we were yesterday.
Okay, I'd like to see that going on.
Yeah. Which is kind of what's happening there in a way, but they bring all kinds of things, topics. Like, I recently went to go see a lecture on William Blake, the poet, you know, the theological poet, William Blake, and that was interesting. But yeah, they had Aldous Huxley. They had an Aldous Huxley month. You know, the mythological. I think it was the mythological Los Angeles. That was one of the themes. With Aldous Huxley.
Yeah, he got. He was in with the crowd, Huxley. With the
Well, his dad was someone prominent, right? Yeah.
Real New World Order family, that one.
Yeah.
So it's been great, Kevin.
Yeah.
I really enjoy. You did the good job on the San Francisco interview where I had the same t-shirt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that I'm dropping you off here because when I recently got this new car, maybe like 3 months ago, I made the decision to not come here anymore because of this. it's a zoo.
Yeah.
And I still don't come here with doing Uber anymore, just because it's too much, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny that I'm coming back for a good reason, you know.
Yeah, it is a good reason.
Yeah. And to have like this conversation that we're having on the way, it's really cool. It's
for sure. And recording it and sharing it with the world. The initiative you have taken on this tour to, you know, do interviews and things like that will be appreciated by many, and they do. That interview was, it's got a lot of hits on it.
Yeah.
More than, of course, what they tell you, but I've had a lot of good feedback on that interview. The style of it, the content, the production, and these other ones that you've done as well. So good on you.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Well, you know, you're a Hollywood person. You're an actor, writer, producer, etc., etc. So it shows in that, you know, and the fact that you're doing it and doing it for a good cause, for syncretism, for knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah, knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, man. That's
not for entertainment.
No, not at all. And that's the thing, is like, I think people will think, because I know how I know how that is, because that's how I thought. You're like, well, why would someone do that? You know, no, it's because you spend enough time researching, and you realize that the beauty is all in the knowledge and the wisdom, and this can get passed on to people, and it can help them. It could replace therapy and popping pills and all the destruction that comes from that.
For sure.
It gives your mind something to focus on, and it gives you purpose, like you say. An immense amount of purpose, like unbelievable. The vibration that we start to get to.
Yeah.
When you start connecting the dots.
For sure.
I mean, you have to drill it in. You have to, like you say, they always say it's that we've drinking from the cup of forgetfulness. And that is a powerful statement, because the more that you deep dive into syncretism, and you realize that that's what you're doing. You're taking a sip at a time.
Yeah.
You know. You're remembering a sip at a time, and then you hear something that someone said, and that's right. I've heard that already, and that it's drilling in deeper now. And I can make sense of it.
Yeah. It has so much significance, syncretism. It's gives you it fulfills you.
Yes.
Without syncretism, I would not be fulfilled. I would have emptiness. I would be seeking for experiences. I'd be going out, you know, to the music festivals and things like that.
Yes.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's where you get a lot of interaction with good people, but it's a good place also to be distracted, you know, and meet the wrong people, you know, if you don't know who you are. But again, I don't need those. I enjoy those like everyone else, the same. But for me, I'm fulfilled. I don't need them. I'm self-contained, fulfilled individual, you know. I don't need other people necessarily to make me happy. Yes, they do make me happy, but I don't need them to. I've got a place where I can go to be happy, which is a place when I'm all alone.
Yeah.
And other people can't do that. They can't stand their own company. They will not stay 1 minute in their own company. They're on the phone talking to a friend, or let's do this, let's go out.
Yeah.
And the same with partners. Some men and women, they're just polyamorous, and they just want as many partners because they want that interaction. But what they don't realize is they are losing their integrity. It's like a car, you know. You don't want to go and get a car that's had the most owners, because you know that car's going to be horrible. It's not going to have integrity. It'll be loose. It'll be it breaks down quicker, and it's just. But whereas you go and you get a one owner car, and you can see the leather, all the upholstery, all the, original motor, original this, original that. The soul of the car is still in it. But when another driver comes in, changes the way the first driver cared for the car, and so the car now gets confused. Because every car has a soul, man. It's a whole bunch of molecules that man formed and put into place to have one function, many millions of parts, but one unit. And this is incredible, that every car has a soul, and this is why people call their car, by a nickname, Herbie. Oh, where's, they've got a name for their car because the car has a spirit, it has a personality. But you can never know that personality, or you can, but it's broken by the time it's had 5, 10, 20 partners. And that's because on the physical plane, the moment you kiss your partner, you're going to be running their program. And if they've got viruses, which they do, it's like when you get a virus on your computer, brand new computer, it runs well, it's got integrity. Then all of a sudden you put all these programs in, and then it gets slower and slower, and then a virus hits. Well, that's what's going on with sexuality, and that's why it's so inspirational, and people are addicted to it as well, because of the exchange of energy. But the problem is, many times it's a bad exchange, and it leads to unwanted pregnancies, venereal diseases, neurosis, psychosis, arguing, nervousness. Because when you're polyamorous, you're always nervous. Why? Because you don't trust yourself, because you're not loyal. You don't have any loyalty, and you're not going to be with someone to integrate them, to make them whole. You're going to be stealing their sexual energy, so you're a thief. Promiscuous people are thieves. They are not trustworthy. One who does not trust cannot be trusted. So when you see those signals of a partner coming into your life that doesn't trust you because they're talking to some other woman or some other man or something like that, that's because they can't be trusted.
What do you think? So being an actor for a number of years now, and being in acting classes and filming and stuff like that, and you realize that the whole industry of entertainment is based on conflict. If you don't have conflict, it won't be entertaining. And so and that relates to, we as humans, we love conflict. How would you respond to that?
Well, that comes from polyamory. That's where it comes from.
We love the conflict.
You'll find that generally people who love and respect each other, who've been around each other for a long time, always maintain that respect, and they prefer harmony. I'm the type that prefers harmony when I'm allowed to be who I am. When I'm under attack from parasites and entities and allowing their influence to destroy my life and relationships, well, then it's conflict. Why did you speak to her, or why did you speak to him? I noticed you had an extra look at her. Why did you do that? And this distrust and stuff like that comes from all of that.
And generally the desire and the excitement to meet up with people and friends that bring you into these conflicts is because we're seeking conflict. As a viewer, you want to watch conflict because it excites something in you, because you can relate it to your life.
Yes.
But in the end, it's like the conflict is interesting, and we want to watch it, and we want to watch these stories where there's all this mystery and everything to it. But in the end, it's like, that's not the healthy conflict is good, but harmony inside and with others around you is what we should be seeking. Yet we're caught in the web of conflict, of lies,
in only conflict with no harmony.
And because it's interesting, it's drama, and people want to talk about the drama, and they want to gossip, and that seems to me like that rules a majority of people's lives. Doesn't it?
Yes, and they jump into relationships quickly, and all they're doing is just DNA swapping, program swapping, and integrity goes, and they lose their soul. That's how you lose your soul, by mingling with too many people. The Bible warns you, watch who you associate with. for you will perish if they are not good people. It will cause your own detriment, everlasting in some cases. That's why I'm very careful, and that's why I'm very forthright when I speak about this, because I have nearly got myself on the bad path many times, and I've seen where I could easily have gone down the wrong path, and how much effort and how much intent needs to go onto the right path, and how you really need to be devoted and dedicated. It's like the illustration of there is an illustration of level of devotion in the Bible. There's many, but the sower, the seeds, for instance, the parable of the seeds. The sower went out, and some seeds withered overnight, some got choked by the thorns and the thistles, but others fell on good ground and endured and produced fruit. Well, that's all about the right, because you've got the right seed already. You want to endure, you want the outcomes, you want to ascend. And so, fertile soil presents itself, makes itself manifest. And so, you can plant your heart, your seed in good soil, and you grow, and you ascend. So, Terminal 6. Alaska Airlines, AS.
Yep.
Good.
Gotcha, man. Yeah, you're experiencing the LAX traffic. It's
yeah, but it's great. It's still pretty good. It's not as bad. I've seen road rage worse in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And Sydney. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, it's really something. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It rules people.
Yep.
Because we're trapped inside these boxes, these metal boxes. And we can't connect to the person in the car in a harmonious way.
I know. You would never do that if you were walking on the street and you bumped into each other. You wouldn't say
ever. We create demons in our head inside these cars.
Yes,
that's
I've
what
done
it is.
Multiple times, and I get home, all knotted up and angry and tense, and I don't enjoy my meal. I don't have a good sleep, all because of you cut my path, and your day can just turn to sour real quick. Just like that.
Yeah, it's true. It's all about learning how to control that energy, because it's an energy release.
Yes,
it's the wrong kind of energy release.
Yeah, and then when you learn how to control things like that, and you masterfully avoid with diplomacy any kind of conflict, then watch how good you feel.
Yes.
You walk away and you feel that I'm strong.
Because you conquered that.
Yeah.
You conquered
but once you've degraded yourself to their level where you've, exchanged expletives, do you feel strong and happy? You feel like, well, you might get some satisfaction that you got it off your chest and that, but you're not going to feel good in that sense. Wholesome good. You'll feel good that you won the argument. That's all, and that's cheap thrills. We've got to be able to conduct ourselves much better than that in life. To shed those kinds of experiences and make life more beautiful for ourselves and for everybody else by not engaging in this conflict, and being harmonious and seeing how we harmonize with everyone as we go.
Yeah. Did you read much of Alan Watts, or have you listened to Alan Watts? Yeah. Lots. his Zen, Zen philosophy and Zen Buddhism. So you're very aware of.
Yep, quite a bit.
Yeah.
I enjoy his philosophy.
Yeah.
Very much. His wisdom, I would say.
Yeah.
Same thing, isn't it? Love of wisdom.
Yeah.
But as for ascension, I've never heard him speak of that.
That's
Christ consciousness.
That's one thing he never did. Because he didn't. I just don't think he ever got there. And it was just the times that he was in.
I know.
You know, the 50s and
Yep.
or the 40s and 50s when he was
Exactly.
doing his all of his speeches and stuff.
And that is very Saturnian, in my opinion, and lunar. He's a you know, he's a Saturnian and a lunar pather. I'm a solar. We are Neoplatonists. Hermetists are solar. The sun is the portal.
Man, that's amazing. It's
Not-
so sad.
Yeah, not that the Saturnian path or the lunar path is ultimately wrong, but it's in this current format, construct, it's not the path you want to be in. It's the sun. Heliognostics we are.
Yeah.
Christians are heliognostics, knowers of the sun, because the sun is the savior. It tells you. It's the savior.
Yeah, every day it saves us
It's
because it has to, or none of this would be possible.
no one goes to the Father except through me. So we have to go through the sun. It's a hole in the sky. It's a wormhole. It's a portal back to cause. So what do I do here? Do I have to go to the checking desk? Or,
Yeah,
or
yeah, this traffic's kind of crazy, but we're just gonna pull up on the right here, and then I'll be able to we'll be able to drop you off, and then there's a check-in.
Yeah, usually they want you to check in on the computer. I don't like that. You know, it's ahead.
We're doing all kinds of work here. We'll get you there.
You can get in now, man.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, thanks, Santos.
Yeah, brother.
We'll have a safe flight, man.
You too, man.
We'll just end this here.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. It's been a great,
pleasure.
and then we'll see you. Enjoy your time in Costa Rica and Central America, and then we'll see you back here probably.
Yeah, soon, man.
Right, yeah.
Within 3 months, we'll be seeing each other.
Awesome. Love it, man.
Cool. Cheers.